time is it, Dave?
I think it's podcast o'clock.
Podcast o'clock. Not too bad. Still a bit loosey-goosey on that, but you're
Oh,
sort of
yeah.
the king of the intros at this stage.
I still need to, like, realise that I have to do these now.
Well, we're only halfway through, technically, at the minute. Well, not even halfway through, but we're two in, almost. Obviously, Bioshock 2 this time.
Of course.
You're one of your favourites, one of my indifferent ones.
Very decisive topic for us.
Well, you see, the good thing is, and we said this even in the last one, that the first one we sort of have similar opinions on.
Yeah.
So,
But then
excuse me, it's what?
For 2 and 3, it's like we're both opposites.
Yeah, we're both gonna like stab each other in the throat, and it's gonna be okay. You know.
Yeah. But
especially 2.
Oh yeah.
Well, no, 2's not so bad because we kind of agree on some aspects of 2.
Yeah, like we.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we both have similar opinions.
Yeah. Minerva STEM. The best DLC
Creme
of
de
all
la
time.
creme. Should have just been the base game.
Well, yeah, because I have to start off and say, because I haven't played this in like 4 years or something. Whenever the remaster came out, it was like the last time I played it.
That was the last time I played it as well.
But then I had to like go and basically I went and played like half of it, and then I made notes. This is like the first time I've made notes for something, just because I'm like, no, I really hate this game, so I'm gonna really make sure how much I need to tell everyone how much I really fucking hate it. Yeah.
Oh god.
But no.
We're for a roller coaster.
Well, yeah, no, because I don't know. How do we start this?
I think before we even talk about Bioshock, I think you have some apologising to do.
Oh, we do have it. Well, both.
For what you did to me in the last episode that I was on.
Well, I did nothing wrong. It's something you said that was really fucking stupid, and it's your own fucking fault.
And then you no. Then you cut me off before I corrected myself.
Well, that was the ending of the episode, which was always good.
Yeah. So if anyone isn't aware, Alex did me dirty last episode during the outro, where I accidentally said thanks for watching instead of thanks for listening.
And
then
that
like
was
a
it.
fool.
That's how it ends. But you hear me laughing at the end, but I just cut that out, so it just sounds like even worse. Because it's literally just you. Oh, it's so fucking funny.
The worst thing is I didn't even cop onto what I said until after you already cut the episode, and you were like, you want to do that again? I was like,
yeah, I cut the episode, I paused, I was like, yeah, dude, fuck you. But no, I have even worse apologising, because do you remember when I said, oh, here, I'll put in the Sander Cohen music here?
Oh, yeah.
I completely forgot, and I uploaded it, and I was just like, oh, it's too late.
Oh,
so the best thing is you just hear it's actually really funny because it just sounds like it got copyrighted, because it's just me. I'll be like, no, Dave, I'm gonna put it in here, and then there's just this long pause, and then it's just me going, oh, that was good, wasn't it?
To be fair, that's exactly what happened during us recording it. So I thought you were gonna play a bit of it down the mic, so I went pure quiet. I was like,
oh right,
oh,
no,
okay.
I was gonna cut it in, you see.
Yeah, and then whenever you came back, I was like, oh, that's funny, and I didn't know what was happening.
Well, it's good in copyright strike.
Oh yeah, if you just put a wee timestamp in the description or something of the video.
Well, the thing was, I did put a timestamp because I wrote down my time. I shouldn't be doing this. I'm showing behind the scenes. This isn't right. But
never show behind the curtain.
You never show. It's like radio. People still think it's done with record discs and stuff and CDs. It's all computers doing the work. But now I always keep like a wee note saying, and I wrote that down, but instead of like uploading it, I think I skipped too far ahead when I was editing it, and so I just used that as like the wee snippet I use on Instagram. Anyways, that was a big tangent for no reason.
Yeah,
it was more of an apology had you listened to the last Bioshock episode. But no, Bioshock 2, your thoughts, Dave. Just initial thoughts, what you think about the game, and I'll tell you why you're wrong.
Well, you're probably going to crucify me for this opinion, but I think that Bioshock 2 is a perfect sequel in so many ways, but the story. Like, I think it's a perfect sequel in terms of the fact that it builds on just the base gameplay mechanics and the entire sandbox in that way, and I think that it's so like it's just looked over as just a worse Bioshock 1. But whenever you look at it, I just feel like the entire sandbox and just so many game mechanics are just so much better. Like they like improved upon it so much, but it's just overlooked. I have a feeling you're going to tell me why I'm wrong with that opinion.
Well, I was about to say, well, Dave, this is why you're wrong. But no, I must clarify. The way we're gonna break up, because it's a lot more complicated than the first game, and it's more related to like Infinite, where you have Bioshock 2. And you have a ton of DLCs. Main DLCs were, obviously Minerva's dead, but there was multiplayer DLCs because there was an actual multiplayer mode, which Dave's never played because it's not in the remaster.
I didn't even hear about it. I don't think until like whenever you were talking
I mentioned it.
Yeah, wasn't it like beforehand in the last episode or afterwards you were talking about it and we were just like, you were just telling me about it and I was like, what?
Oh yeah, there is a multiplayer. Yeah, no, well I'll get into what the multiplayer was because it was kind of strange. It was kind of a story driven one, and it works into the story.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's interesting. But we're mainly going to talk about the main game first and then move on multiplayer, and then we're going to end on Minerva's Den, because Minerva's Den's a sweet spot. So skip to Minerva's Den. Nah, don't skip. I don't have timestamps. But anyways, so I made notes playing this fucking game. I didn't even finish it in time. I just got like halfway through or something. I don't even know how far I got.
Well, at least you did more preparation than me. I'm going off base memory here.
So Dave's actually confirmed that he is wrong in this. No matter what his opinion is going to be. You've already confirmed it first, Dave.
You have me there, actually.
Because I played this recent news, so fuck you. No.
Don't worry. I'm gonna get you back for Bioshock Infinite. I'm going to come back with a full notebook of.
Well, that did have a
notes.
multiplayer that I didn't play.
Oh god, I didn't even know that had a multiplayer.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. I choose not to talk about that one.
Kind of explains a lot about the gameplay then.
Pretty much. Well, anyways, Bioshock 2. First thing I wrote down, I think it was like after the opening happened, I just wrote down per opening. I just wrote down because it has like if you compare it to like Bioshocks, you have a short cutscene, and then you're immediately in the water, then you swim, then you go into the biosphere and stuff, and then obviously you're sent down to Rapture, and then you have like the you meet the Splicer and all this, and then it ends with you getting the plasma and stuff and going on.
The thing with it does lack that whole grandiose aspect of it whenever you're going down the bathysphere for the first time. And you have so much like thrown at you because you have Ryan talking to you, giving you one of his many monologues, and then you get the sight for the first time of what the setting is, and it's just mind blowing. But yeah, 2 does.
Because do you remember the intro to 2?
Yeah,
it's just you walking
down
a
a hallway,
Eleanor.
and you look. It's like you walk down a hallway, you look out the window at Rapture, and you're like, you could have done something more with this. You could have gave us a bit of a better spectacle. Then you go up to the little sister vent thing. Knock on it, and you walk with her. Then you're walking past all the people dancing and everything. Then you chase down Eleanor and all. Yeah. I remember that off by heart.
And then you shoot yourself in the head. Yeah. And then the logo. But the worst thing, it just doesn't tell you anything about the game.
No, that's one thing I will agree with you on.
It's such a bad start.
I do love the start up until I do love the fact you get shot in the head because they use the Big Daddy mind control. Plasma.
Yeah, on you. I like that. I do like that. And then they give you like a Mauser, I think.
Yeah.
Shoot yourself with, yeah.
But then they don't explain how they bring you back other than the fact that they just put your body in one of the, what are they called again? You know, the
Vita chambers.
Yeah, the Vita chamber. But it doesn't explain how they work for them to do that because you're dead. Your character dies for like God knows how many years.
Yeah. Well, no, it's 10 years, I think.
10 years.
It's 10 years.
Yeah, because Bioshock is 5. Bioshock 1's 5 years after, is it? Or something like that?
No, I think it's a couple of years. I think it's only like a year or two or so. Maybe 2 years or something. It's not that long. That's why the place looks not that destroyed, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. But
that's why 2 looks shit. But anyways, we'll go on.
That's one thing I do like about 2 is the fact whenever you're going through the whole center, you see all the coral and stuff coming through.
I like that. It's just what I like. Well, we'll get into that later, but go on.
No, but
anyways, the intro.
Yeah, that is one thing that annoys me so much about that. Like that's one thing I will say is the narrative of the game.
It looks shit visually, like the cutscene, because they didn't update the cutscene.
Yeah.
It looks really bad.
Whenever you're looking at your reflection in the window, you can.
Oh, it's all blurred.
Yeah.
You can clearly tell this is from 2010 or whatever. I think it's 2010 it came out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But actually, speaking on cutscenes, the second note I have is too many cutscenes that haven't been updated. That's the second note I made. Because I forgot, because there is so many cutscenes in this game. Like, far too many. Like, every time you interact with a character, there's a big cutscene.
Because that's one thing that's weird about the game is there's a lot of, like, there's, like, a lot of different sections, but each section kind of has their own, like, you know, how would you put it? Basically has their own NPC behind each section. And you do get a lot of, like, cutscenes and stuff to do with them, which is quite weird.
Because there's only, 3 cutscenes that come to mind? And then the rest are all, like, in-game, like, actual events.
Yeah.
Like, the first one is when you put the plasmid, when you use the plasmid.
Oh, yeah.
Second one is, which I think's fine, because that's actually a well-timed cutscene.
Yeah.
Because you've been so overwhelmed with stuff, you need time to kind of take it all in. Second one is with Andrew Ryan.
Yeah.
And then the last one is with...
Frank
which is the end of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, whenever all the little sisters are coming out and stabbing him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I looked up, and this is, again, another tangent. We're moving on to the end of the game already. Well, mainly the end of the last game, but the start of this one. Remember we said last week, how the fuck does this tie into 2? And I looked it up, and there's no answer. But the only thing the only thing I could find is, at the start of the game, 2 splicers are having a conversation. One says, "Oh, do you remember Jack? He saved all little sisters and fucked off and stuff, right?"
Yeah.
And then another one says, "Oh no, but remember he harvested them and all." And it's basically referencing the first game, because you know the 2 endings of the first game. It's referencing, and I was like, "No, you can't do that."
Well, I suppose it's a bit of like an unreliable narrator sort of situation. Or they're acknowledging the past, but because it's only just 2 random splicers saying it, they'd be like, one person would be like, "Oh, I sure remember he did this," and I was like, "I thought he did this."
I know, but my whole thing is, neither ending's canon then.
Yeah. Well, I mean, since we're talking about little sisters, how the hell are there still little sisters, young little sisters?
I don't get it. Well, first of all, the redesign. They do look less creepy.
I do like.
We
the
both
redesign,
prefer this design. They look more human. But I just don't like the fact that there was a redesign. Like, I think the only way I can sort of like figure it out is, the Atom changed their DNA and they physically changed them. And fuck it, I don't know. But anyway, they literally just changed the design and never explained it.
I do like the redesign, but I think a lot of the little sisters in this game just look all the same. Granted, the first game they did as well, but this one I think feels even more so.
Oh yeah, like they all wear the exact same stuff, identical. Whereas the first game they wore different kind of clothes.
Didn't they have like different coloured hairs and stuff?
Oh yeah, like one with blonde, one with brown hair, yeah. Whereas they're all dark haired in this. They literally are all the same,
Yeah.
Fuck it, we'll just go through my notes that I wrote, because there's actually not that many. Better hacking tool.
Oh yeah, that's something I wanted to bring up.
This is something we didn't talk about in the last episode.
Hacking in the
hacking was shit. It was so annoying. It was a shitty puzzle game.
I think it was the fact that it brought you out of the game. Like it wasn't even like it was bringing you out for like a second or two. It was taking you out for like a whole minute. Yeah. Especially whenever they got more complicated, it just became so tedious.
And it was so uncharacteristic about it, because it's like, yeah, I get the whole, you're fixing pipes and stuff, but why? Because you have a wrench? I don't know, what's the reason? Like, that's kind of the only reason I can, why did I become a fucking plumber all of a sudden? You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand why, because as you said, it does take you out of the game completely.
It just, because it's like a Skyrim or a Fallout situation where like everything pauses around you, but with MMO games it makes more sense, because
it literally
doing
takes
anything
you out.
pauses the game. But with a game like Bioshock, I'm trying to does the game pause whenever you're in your menus in Bioshock? It doesn't it not?
No, it does, yeah.
Oh, does it? Oh.
Yeah.
'Cause
It's
I was
just
gonna
the only thing that takes you out of the game completely is actually...
Yeah.
I'm buying in the shop, obviously.
Mhm. I do love that
Um,
about 2 though. It's just like a wee like dial going back and forward when you have to
Oh
match
yeah,
it.
it's
And it's
so
like,
much better. And then you get wee
oh
bonuses and stuff.
yeah, you get bonuses.
And I love the
Everything
fact that
blue
it's almost like
spots.
an actual weapon.
Yeah, you have the wee
Like it's an
hack and
actual
run
tool.
thing
Well, the
where you can like
remote
shoot.
dart, obviously, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that you shoot the
Because you
dart at
can still
something
go up and just
and you can
hack
hack it
stuff.
from a distance.
Yeah.
Makes it great for security
And then
cameras
there's
and
auto
stuff.
hacks that you can just shoot at
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah. I think that's one thing they did I do prefer and I
that's
forgot about.
so. One thing I wanted to actually get your opinion on, like, because I don't know if this is something you like compared to the first game, but it's the fact that you can actually like dual wield plasmids and your weapons, and the fact
No,
that
I do
you're
prefer that.
and also the fact that a lot of the weapons in the game are just like repurposed Big Daddy tools
Yeah,
in a way.
because I love the weight to the gun. I think that's also
Yeah.
something I do have written down. It's like guns good, drill good. That's all I wrote down for those. Just well, that was those are below per story, but anyways.
Like I was thinking back in the game and the fact that I love the rivet gun, because whenever you
Yeah.
shoot, you can see like the not the cogs, but you can see like the big thing like reloading the rivets by spinning.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so cool. But yeah,
Well, I just love how it's like you walk past the machine gun and then you get like a massive fucking minigun. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah, it feels a lot like just upgraded versions, like scaled up versions of the first game. Or like in
Like
the
I do
first,
love the fact that it's like right drill, fuck yeah, right? You know,
first game
and swapping
wrench,
out the melee
second
weapon.
game massive drill.
Yeah.
Then
Third
the-
game weird sort of spin sauce.
Then yeah, like zipline.
They're still
head
iconic
thing.
though. Like every
Oh,
single
yeah.
one's kind of iconic.
To be fair, I do love the
Um,
drill the most.
Oh yeah, yeah,
As-
yeah.
as
yeah,
iconic
yeah.
as the
'Cause you're in
wrench is-
charge of it.
Yeah, because you have like a normal hit someone or just mash them with the drill.
Yeah,
But
and then you can just charge across the room.
yeah, I do love
Excuse me.
just the fact that it's a lot less clunky than the first game. Where like in
Yeah.
the first game, if you wanted to like do a combo on someone, just say like the wrench electric combo, you would have to hit them with electricity, switch to your wrench then. But in this
Yeah,
game,
yeah,
you can
yeah.
just zap them constantly without having to keep switching, and I just love that so much. That's what I was saying. It has the gameplay mechanics. Like, well, this is why I think it's an amazing sequel in that aspect of it. Just improves on the gameplay mechanics of the first one and just builds upon them so well.
The other thing I have down is underwater segments aren't memorable and are also very underused.
It just feels like walking down any other corridor.
Because you don't do anything in them.
There's no like
It's literally to slow you down while the game
Yeah.
loads.
it.
And they keep making up excuses for you to be underwater as well.
Yeah, it's something that
First one, fair enough, but
if they did something not something like Dead Space, but you know whenever you go into zero gravity in Dead Space,
Yes,
you really
yes,
feel
yes.
like you're in zero gravity. But in this here,
are
whenever
you
you're
plugging Dead Space?
we hint.
Foreshadowing sometimes is not as simple as this, but let's go on, continue.
But like, there's this is why I'm bringing it up. Is like, there's nothing that makes you feel like you're underwater. Like, if you had like to just say, 'cause you know where you're a big daddy, you have like a big oxygen tank on your back. If you felt like if you had like an oxygen meter, just say, and then you had to go to like a big daddy refueling station underwater, just something like that there to kind of make you just to give you a wee bit of like immersion or haste.
Yeah.
While you're underwater, just to make it feel like you are, but nothing. It never has that.
Yeah, I don't like it. I think to get between places, it would have been more interesting to go. You'd have to go underwater to get to places because all biospheres in the past 10 years have been destroyed. I think the idea of having the train was a bit stupid.
Yeah. Also, the fact that weren't all the biospheres genetically locked to Andrew
Encoded.
Ryan. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's why you could use them, but no one else. Not
Yeah,
no one else, but like there's a bit of a reason why you could use them and like
Yeah.
to get around, which I think is having to go underwater to like go outside to bypass everything is a nice feature. But the way that it's a really cool idea, but just the way it's done.
I
Like,
think they
there's no-
retconned it. Because
Wait,
I was
what?
listening to one of the audio logs. It's like, you see a biosphere underwater, and you pick up an audio log, and it's a guy with his wife saying, "Oh, look, we're finally escaping the biosphere," and then he's like, "No, Lamb, no, don't," and Lamb shoots missiles at the.
Oh.
So they another thing Bioshock 2 does is they retcon.
That's another thing they do in Minerva's Den then at the very end.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Foreshadowing.
Well, I suppose if you think about it, Tenenbaum probably could have done something with that one.
Yeah, I suppose. She's a
That's
bitch.
annoying.
The little thing everyone forgets about.
Yeah.
Bioshock.
I love that thing in the first game where she's basically like, don't harm them
Jesus.
and all. And oh, well, I wouldn't go that far, but whenever she's talking about the little sister, she's basically like, don't harm them and everything like that there, and you're like,
Yeah.
and you're going through and you're reading all the audio logs and everything like, what the you've done some horrible things to them. You're a bit late in caring now.
Oh, it was more humane because they were going to be used anyways. And shut the fuck up. Do not defend yourself. Just agree that everyone had fucked up shit down here and move on.
Yeah, that's something I do like. She's very ironic in that aspect.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it's the best thing about Bioshock is it just shows the people what they'll go to achieve their dreams or masterpieces or whatever their desires are, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
What do I have here? The gun's good, yeah. Little sister redesign. Continuity errors, yeah.
Oh, this is the
A
big
lot
one.
of them.
Yeah.
Big main one, which everyone overlooks, is Lamb.
Mm-hmm. It's a very poor excuse as well.
But they never mention her at all.
See, like...
Because the whole thing is, in the first game, all you find out is the only person that's ever come close to overthrowing Ryan is Fontaine.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently Lamb was even more close to overthrowing him.
Yeah.
Because she had the vote of the people, because, which I think is quite kind of strange, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but then they kind of try to explain it as, oh no, Andrew Ryan wanted to like wipe her from the history books and all, and you're like,
Yeah.
Isn't
It's
it? Because isn't it explained that he basically just got her and all her supporters and just basically threw them into like not a sealed off part of Rapture, but like a closed off part where they couldn't really do any harm.
I'm pretty sure, but you'd still think they would have
it
had a
makes
presence
no
or
sense.
it would. Do I compare it to? It would be like in Bioshock Infinite, Daisy Fitzroy.
Yes.
You'd still see like mentions of her, even though she's not really a big threat anymore.
Yeah.
Because I think that's one thing they do better in Bioshock Infinite is this, fight between two powers. Because obviously Bioshock Infinite is about that. Anyways, we'll move on.
As well as like five other things that they tried to do at the same time.
I know.
We'll get onto that in the next one where I'm just going to have a massive rant.
Disappointment! No, is it disappointed? One thing I do say about it is I like the idea that Lamb is basically controlling the splicers. Like the splicers in the first game are just mental, crazy people, but in this they follow her religiously.
It makes sense because in the first game they can't really follow. Well, they can't. Some kind of do follow Ryan, where they'll basically do some stuff, but they don't have that actual like.
In rewards for Adam.
Yeah, like they don't have that actual connection. They don't have that real connection with something. They don't have they don't have a person to lead because Fontaine isn't really like. Fontaine's kind of on his own using you. Yeah. So he is, and if he uses the splicers, it might seem a bit suspicious.
Sus. Yeah.
I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say sus. I was a. You can make up for yourself for last week, and you just play the Among Us theme.
I sounded like the Predator. From the Predator films, just.
Yeah. But like it feels like
foreshadowing.
Jeez, we're teasing a lot this episode.
I know there's a lot being teased. This is like the Age of Ultron episode where it's kind of shit, but we're just teasing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Go on.
But I was gonna say, like Lamb has an aspect where she actually tries to connect to the people in a way that, because like in the first game, Ryan just doesn't do that at all. And Fontaine does it to exploit people. Like, he'll help
Like, it's
people.
very characteristic of Ryan
yeah.
to not do that, because obviously he's like, nah, fuck them, they're a
No
bunch of savages.
It's basically
Yeah.
like charity is something that is like directly looked down upon to Ryan, because like every man.
Yeah, because it's all about the individual.
Yeah, and I think I said this in the last episode where Fontaine exploits that by giving charity to the lower classes
Yes.
and all the main workers, but for a malevolent reason.
For his own
he's doing
selfish.
it to basically exploit people and be like, I helped you with this, now you have to help me, otherwise, I'm going to take it all back from you and maybe kill you or something like that there. But
And the difference with Lam is the fact that this is her actual beliefs, and that
Yeah.
you should help everyone.
she's more down for this whole ideology of everyone is one in that aspect.
But the problem is, in making it, oh, everyone is one and everyone should help everyone, she becomes very tyrannical in her,
Yeah.
and that's the downfall of that, because it's like
It's basically the downfall of all of these different ideologies.
yeah, like, this is what I think Bioshock does well. It shows, what's good about objectivism at first, and then you realize, oh wait, this would never actually work at all, and it's kind of fucked up, right?
Yeah.
And it shows the downfall of that, and then the opposite of that, altruism. They do the exact same of that in Bioshock 2. I think that's the one thing I do enjoy about that game.
Yeah. What do you think about the whole thing towards it where they want to do it so basically it's like a hive mind and everyone's connected to Eleanor in that aspect?
I was hoping we didn't have to talk about this.
I'm sorry, Alex. I'm sorry for bringing up the plot of the game.
I know, this is problem. Bioshock 2 is great when you don't bring up the actual plot.
Yeah.
But as we all know, why would we play a single player game except for the plot?
Yeah. It's something that I actually did like about the game is like, I know you might disagree, but I actually did find a bit of a connection between Subject Delta and Eleanor.
Oh no, I was fine with that. Yeah.
It's just everything around that's a bit annoying.
Yeah, but just everything.
Yeah.
Like, I sort of like the choices you get, where you actually have choices when it comes to individuals.
Like every zone, it's basically
You can spare them or not.
It's like in place of the karma system from the first game where you have to like
Oh no.
I mean that's there like
No, they're both there. That's the problem. There's fucking 6 endings to this game.
yeah, but like I do like it more than the first game because the first game it felt very cut and dry. But this here one, there is a one that I don't like, and that is
What ending?
no, not the endings. You know, the choices between good and bad.
Yes.
That's Alexander. You know, the one that's basically in the massive tube.
Yes.
Because technically, it's counting towards the bad ending if you kill him and put him out of his misery.
Yeah.
Which I kind of see, like, it depends on what way you look at it, because like from what Alexander says before he basically turns into Alexander the Great, he's basically like, okay, kill me please, because I'm just a monster when I'm about to become a monster. But the new one's like basically Alexander the Great's like, just don't kill me please, I'm a new being. But it's the way that it's handled, because you can see that Alexander the Great is just absolutely psychotic and just kind of needs to be put out of his misery.
Well, see, this is a sign where it's mainly with games. More recently, like post 2012, story-wise, they kind of got rid of this. But where you have it's Mass Effect, for example, where there's a meter of if you do good things, you get a good meter. But you've seen it in all sorts of games. You've seen it in like Fable, for example.
Oh yeah.
But the problem is, the whole morale. It's a morale meter. That's what I'm thinking of, a morality meter.
Yeah.
It's solely subjective because it's up to the writer to say what's right and wrong. And this is why most games have gotten rid of it now, because to the viewer it's subjective, where one person it'd be good, to another person would be a bad thing to do. You know what I mean?
Like with a lot of the other ones, like I think it's basically the thing with all of them is you can kill them or you can forgive them. But when it comes to Alexander, I think there's a bit of an exception, because you can forgive him, but the person that did all them things is basically already dead.
Yeah.
And what is before you is basically just something that's completely like... See, this is the problem. From my perspective, it's something that you should have to kill. Not have to kill, but it's like something that just kind of needs to be put out of its misery. Not maliciously. But
well, Dave, I mean, we can talk about the youth in Asia all we want, but You see what I did there?
Yep.
Oh,
God
dear.
damn it.
That worked.
But yeah, that's the only one I have a complaint with. The rest of them I actually kind of like, where you basically go through their zones, learning what they did to you and how they had an effect. This is actually one of them, like the actual narrative points that I like. Is basically you're going through, you're finding out what they did, and like you basically had this
because
good bit of
you've
time.
lost your memory basically.
Yeah. But it's also stuff that you didn't know that's happened behind the scenes before you got shot that'll lead up
And
to that.
after as well.
And after, yeah, like all the mistreatment of Eleanor and all their stuff. But it's something that I actually like, because you get to find out all this stuff while having that person talk to you and explain themselves.
Yeah.
While also then having time to make up your mind and like be like, okay, I can forgive this person or I can kill them. So it's one thing I do like about the narrative.
Mm.
But then you go back to all the stuff towards Lamb and everything that I just, and you kind of like, Then you go to the overarching story, and then you're like, just...
Yeah. The weird thing was, I scrolled down, and then I after I wrote, this is like, because I wrote at the top, it was like Little Sister redesign, and then 2 pages, or 2 like lines later, I wrote many character redesigns.
Oh, yeah.
Andrew Ryan, not Lamb, Tenenbaum.
Yeah.
Those are the main 2, really.
Well, I mean, most of the other ones you just hear in the first game, you don't see them.
Well, no, I mean on like the wee picture you get on the wee HUD.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like the wee portrait.
That as well has also changed, which I thought was weird. Next line I did was looks worse. Just looks worse.
Yeah.
Just the game looks worse. You can see the main one they really pushed was the first game when they were remastering for Start.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, like in terms of the Bioshock games, they've really I think they've done a bit of a disservice to 2. In that aspect where they're trying their best to make sure 2 just isn't canonical in any way. They're trying to make people forget about it. Which I'd rather they did with with Infinite than 2, but
Next thing there was just per writing / dialogue.
Yeah.
No, I don't know what that's to do with, but it's probably a lot of things.
It's probably most of the game.
I know, but like the dialogue was just poorly written. I think I was just reading, because first thing I will say, the amount of audio tapes in this is obnoxious.
Yeah.
Like, it's bad when there's an achievement saying get 100 because there's more than 100.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because in the first game it's like, just collect them all. Because I don't even think there is 100 in the first.
Well, the thing with the first game is
every corner.
The thing with the first game is, I think, is you actually kind of have those people there.
I know.
You have some of the characters there to kind of get a bit of a story from them.
Yeah.
Like Sander Cohen. You don't need audio logs from him. But the thing with Bioshock 2 is the fact that since it's set like 10 years after, none of them people are there. So you don't have those people to help tell a story. And then you need to think of the next best thing, which is audio logs.
This is a weird thing. I don't know why I've written this down. I don't know what it's in relation to, but altruism makes sense, but isn't the subject of the world. I don't know why I've written that. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why I've done.
I don't even know what you mean by that.
No, I don't know either. That's the weird thing. I'm just like, skip over that. You'll like this one, Dave. Eleanor speaking to you is as annoying as Cortana in Halo 3. Because I remember, it happened the first time. I was like, oh no, it's kind of fine. Like the second time, I was like, oh no, this is like Halo 3. Fuck this. I'm writing this down.
See, the thing with Halo 3 is it sort of makes sense.
Yeah, I know, but it's just so fucking annoying because it's in the middle of gameplay.
It is. Like in the first mission, you just be sitting there walking.
Because it freezes you.
Yeah, you move it like snail pace, and your screen gets really distorted.
Yeah, it's always when nothing's happened. Like, if it happened during gameplay, fair enough, you'd be like, oh, fuck.
It just happens when you're walking, and you're like, I want to get to this place faster. This is just... Yeah. Like, in the first mission, you're just kind of walking with everyone, and then you get, 3 of them. 3 Cortana jumping at you, 3 instances, and you're like, oh my god, I just want to get through the first walking section.
Once again, more foreshadowing.
Oh, Christ, yeah.
But no, Eleanor, the whole thing was the exact same. I mean, it's not as obnoxious Halo 3, but it is annoying because... I get what they're trying to do, but why does my controller have to vibrate, my screen shake? everything get all blurry. Why does everything have to stop? Can it just,
I'm sure it's like it's one thing that actually, out of all like those types of games it does that, I think Borderlands does it the best.
Yeah,
Like,
with
Borderlands
your
does it.
woman, because it doesn't stop your game.
No, it's
She's just up there.
She's not even
Yeah.
taking up the whole screen as well. It's just like a wee small bit at the top where you see
Yeah.
her eyes, or you can keep like.
So
It's
annoying.
just annoying.
Jesus, I don't even know what this says.
Oh
Jeez.
God.
Oh, right.
Is
I
it-
know what I mean.
Just,
Sorry.
just before this,
I'm
this-
bad writing.
you know what this feels like? It feels like whenever the teacher calls you up to the desk and tries to get you to explain what you've written down in an essay or something.
And you're reading, you're like,
And you're like,
honestly, I haven't a fucking clue. Sinclair, you know Sinclair in the game?
Yes.
Which is basically, you think he's going to do I think it is played out well, because you think it's going to be like Atlas.
You think he's going to betray you, but he's actually
Yeah.
just genuine.
He's just,
It makes it
genuine
even more
guy.
sad what happens to him.
Yeah.
Like, I
But
don't
basically
know.
what happens is Sinclair original voice style is Atlas's southern drawl. 'Cause in the original, in the first game, Atlas had a southern drawl like Sinclair, but no one trusted Atlas because he had the southern drawl.
So he put on the accent.
So they changed. What they did was
Yeah.
they went back and right, give him an Irish accent. Don't know
Yeah.
why you would trust an Irishman, but anyways,
As a note from
he does have a very
Irishman
friendly
ourselves,
voice.
Do
so-
not trust Irish.
Yeah, I know. Don't trust us. We're being honest.
It is a very.
I tr-
He does have a very charming voice, though.
But it's kind of that like Matthew McConaughey. Oh, you can turn on me,
See,
especially given I've played the first game.
Yeah, but the thing with it is, though, I wonder how like someone that's not Irish reacts to him. Because I remember playing it for the first time, and because like I didn't get that charm aspect to him because I was just like, oh, it's just an Irishman. I was.
Well, everyone likes Irish people for some reason.
Yeah,
I
for
don't
some
know why.
reason, like-
We don't like them, and we are Irish. You know what I mean? So
We're gonna start a hate mob against our own people here, but
listen, I hate myself, and it has everything to do with being Irish. But anyways,
Christ.
uh,
But
those words will come back to haunt me, I imagine.
see, like with someone like from just say I don't know America. I'm just gonna a random example, like America. Like they don't hear Irish accents all the time, I would say.
Yeah.
So they would see it and be like, oh, it's more like a charming gimmick to them to make not to make them trust it, but to distract you from what he's actually kind of doing. But
Yeah.
to us, we're just
Less
kind of like
suspicious.
it's just another
Because
Irish
it's also
person.
like a friend. No, but it's a very friendly. It sounds like a
Yeah.
Cork accent, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does that like down south. So for people who aren't in Ireland, listen to this. Cork's at the very bottom of the country. It's very different. Everyone says so at the end of the sentence. So
I think
isn't that right?
it's,
So
it's like the equivalent we always say I, because we're at the
yeah,
very,
we're from Donegal.
yeah, we're at the very north of the country,
That narrowed it
northwest.
down. There's only like 30,000 people there. That narrowed it down.
Yeah.
Um,
But we always say like I to
Yeah.
other people don't.
um,
It's a nice little fact for the listeners.
if there are any. What I
But,
write? Ryan's museum is the most entertaining and unique area,
I
and
remember.
it's the first area you go into.
I think you were telling me this when you was like, I love Ryan's museum. It was like one of the best parts of the entire game because it looked different.
Yeah,
That is one thing the game lacks. So it lacks those unique set pieces. Like I like the first intro area because it's all covered in coral and stuff, and it's like really decrepit. But then whenever you start
Yeah.
getting out of that, it feels more like a set piece for that area.
yeah.
And then they kind of lose that gimmick towards whenever you kind of go through it, and then it just becomes a lot of like apartment complexes.
Yeah,
and
because
stuff.
like a lot of it's just literally destroyed. Everything's there, but
Yeah.
it's destroyed, and it's kind of shit. I don't know. It's just the level design is bad. I feel.
Yeah, you don't have any of those.
Not
didn't
really
have-
open. I mean, it is, but it's kind
Yeah.
of more claustrophobic, which
I
is
mean,
weird.
If you think about the aspect of it being where it's basically all these like lamb supporters and like all
Yeah.
you
No, I
Andrew Ryan
understand
wanted to
why
kind
it's
of
like
get
that.
rid of. They just shove these people in this really decrepit part of, not decrepit, but like just claustrophobic and not really thought out part of the city, so a lot of people don't have to live there. But it lacks those places like Arcadia.
Yeah,
that just-
because every place is iconic when you're playing
Yeah,
Bioshock.
every
you go in, you're like, oh, I remember Fort Frolic. Oh, fuck yeah, you know.
Or you have,
first
like, the,
map, all this.
You have
Yeah.
the docks, then you have like the docks, you have like the doctors' areas with the surgeries and all of their
Yeah.
stuff and all, and you have Fort Frolic and you have Festus. As much as I don't like Festus, it is a different area.
Mm.
But like, it needed something like Arcadia, where you just get to this really decrepit, unique set piece,
Yes.
which lets you show off the decrepitness in a special way. Like, could you imagine you go to Arcadia, but 10 years later, and it's just completely overgrown, and there's like,
Yeah.
basically all the man-made structures are basically you can't see them because there's just vines or trees everywhere.
Yeah.
Like,
it's all unkempt, like, yeah.
it needed stuff like that.
Mm.
So where there was just more of the intro area.
Well, that's why I like the Andrew Ryan's museum, because it's kind of like an expo. It kind of reminds me of like remember in Captain America: The First Avenger when they go to like the Stark Expo.
Yeah.
It's all like, oh, Man of Tomorrow kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's what reminds me of that kind of like 50s kind of style. Because they go in and there's all the infomercials and you have I just kind of really enjoy it because it's basically an introduction to Rapture, but now given we already know what it's like, it's like, oh, this was a look into what it used to be like, if you know what I mean.
I also find it quite ironic the fact that the museum to Andrew Ryan is in a location with all people that want to oppose Andrew Ryan.
Yeah,
it's like it's like an extra little kick to the ground. Like,
yeah, because they've all the shrines. Yeah.
It's so funny, like, if you think about it, like, he just put all these people into this area and then built a museum to him in this area where he knows people don't like him.
Yeah.
This is a little bit of an it kind of makes sense from an Andrew Ryan perspective, like.
Oh yeah, just pure arrogance.
Just egotistical, like, I know they don't like me and I'm going to make them hate the fact that they don't like me.
2 more points. One is researching is done better.
Oh yeah, the camera.
Because in the first game it was just you killed someone, wasn't it? And then you took a you took a photo.
But if you took a photo, it would do the same thing as like the hacking minigame, where it would take up your entire screen for a few seconds, and it would be it would just basically pause everything, and it was so annoying. But like the Bioshock 2, it just. They really,
and especially with all the combos and stuff, you can really get a good score.
It wasn't even a camera in the second game. It was a video recorder, wasn't it? Instead, where you could like record for a few seconds.
Yeah, that was the cool thing.
And
you record for a few seconds, and then you run up and you bash and stuff. Oh, it was great. It was great. That's why I prefer it.
Yeah,
because it does feel like an old timey film where everything's going really fast.
Yeah, it does.
You know what I mean?
It made that aspect
Big Sisters are pointless.
Such a wasted potential.
I know. Big selling point in this game.
I remember watching the cinematic trailer for Bioshock 2.
Brilliant. Such a good trailer.
Oh, it is amazing. Maybe one of my favourite trailers of all time.
Oh, yes. Fucking class.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, oh. That's a shit. I know, so underused, though.
Yeah.
And they're not that hard. Like, I understand they are a lot harder to kill, because when you have to fight them, you have to fight them. There's no option to.
It's not like a Big Daddy. I think, to be honest, Big Daddies are harder to fight, but you have the advantage of being able to plan out a Big Daddy fight. Like you have the opportunity to like lay traps or like lay out like, oh, I'm gonna lead it this way so that it runs through all these like mines and tripwires and all of this. You have the timing advantage, but they did need more like more of a sporadic thing with the Big Sisters. Like where it was just like a lot more frequent and a lot more just challenging.
Yeah. Because like the original idea was they were going to be like, right, it was going to be Eleanor being mind controlled. And that
would have been cool. That would have been a cool twist.
Like, she would come in every once in a while and you'd fight, but you'd never kill her and she'd fuck off.
That would be cool.
Like, I understand why they didn't do it, because you'd know every time you're fighting them, oh, I'm not going to kill them.
Yeah.
You're the Big Sister, I should say.
Well, I mean, I think it would make it a bit more interesting if you thought about, if you kind of going through it thinking, oh, this is going to lead up to a big boss fight with it. Near enough the end, you have that anticipation of it.
Well, again, it would have been a good twist, because I think that is the one thing this Bioshock 2 doesn't have, is a twist.
I don't think it needs a twist. I think if they had have had the aspect of like more of the, if they had have built more towards having a connection with Eleanor, and having like more of a gripping narrative in that aspect, like having a Bioshock game, I don't think means it needs to have a twist.
I think it's just...
It needs to have a good narrative and good world building and just a good story and a good way of bringing you into that world, which Bioshock 2 had them aspects, but it never delivered on any of them.
Well, I think the main reason why Bioshock 2 didn't do well, like as well as the first one, obviously, is the fact that, you know, when people play a Bioshock game, it was more of this new, brand new kind of a world sort of thing.
Yeah.
Suddenly, this is why Infinite did so well, because it was like this big, brand new experience.
Yeah.
Whereas 2 was just sort of like
More
trying
rapture.
to capture what the first one had while also being its own thing.
Yeah. It tried to capture the first game, but tried to capture it differently, and it just didn't really work. But like, I don't think it needed, bringing back to the twist, it didn't need one, because like Bioshock Infinite has a twist, and I absolutely hate Infinite. And I mean, I absolutely hate Infinite's twist.
You see, this is the thing, 'cause Infinite I'll always defend, because that was not the game they wanted to make. It was just the game they ended up making.
And I'll always kind of defend Bioshock 2 because it was made quite quickly.
Yeah.
It was more of a rush job by, was it the Australia, 2K Australia, was it?
I think it was 2K Australia. It was basically made by fans who liked the first one.
Like, if they had have just given us more of a gripping story, I think it would have lent itself so much better. Like, I'm gonna bring it a wee bit ahead, but like it's what Minerva's Den does so well, in the fact that Minerva's Den didn't need a twist, and I don't even think Minerva's Den is good for the twist.
I just think we weren't expecting it.
We weren't expecting it, and it's the fact that it builds up the character of what was it? It's Porter, isn't it? This is the character.
Yeah.
It makes you like that character and really connect with that character so well.
Because he's helping you throughout the way.
Yeah. And you just think it's just someone that died long during the fall of Rapture, and you just basically it was something he tried to do but failed. But whenever you do, I'm not going to say what it is yet until we get into it, but whenever you get the twist...
Again, spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers. But whenever you get to that twist in Minerva's Den, you're like, oh my god, that makes it a lot much better. But at the same time, if there was no twist and you were just Subject Sigma the entire time, I would have been fine with that. Because it was... Well, I mean, I probably wouldn't have been fine because it kind of like... it kind of ends his character in a way, but like... Just having that character there in the background and having such a likable character that it's just kind of guiding you through it made it so much better, and you get the whole dynamic between him and the whole AI and stuff like that there made it so much better that the first game lacked. Like the first game tried to make you have a connection with Eleanor. I mean, not the first game, the base game tried to make you have a connection with Eleanor, but it didn't really fully develop it. It tried to make you hate Lamb and have Lamb be this antagonist. But it didn't really follow through with that in the same way that the first one did it with Andrew Ryan. Like there wasn't enough of him in that aspect of you having talks with her.
Yeah, I know
stuff
what you
like
mean,
that, and having interactions to make you actually think of her as a villain. Because most of the game you go through, you're not even thinking about her. You're mostly thinking about the NPCs that you're interacting. But then every now and then you'll see a shrine to Lamb, and you'll be like, oh yeah, she's there.
Well, I kind of find it funny because in 2 you see more of Lamb initially than you do of Andrew Ryan, and yet he's
Ryan's
the better
impactful.
villain.
Yeah, well, he's much more impactful on it. Like,
yeah,
you will remember Andrew Ryan after playing Bioshock 1. Like,
yeah, the man who was right.
It's the same thing I hate with Infinite. I think Infinite is terrible.
We'll
I
get
hate
onto that.
Com.
We'll get onto that.
Yeah. I was gonna say I just don't like Comstock in the same way I don't like Lamb.
I think we'll move on to multiplayer.
Oh yes.
Because this is something Dave has never heard of.
One thing can I just say before we get into that? I just want to share this little bit of information about me playing Bioshock 2 for the first time.
Oh yes.
Because it wasn't actually my first time playing a Bioshock game. Wasn't whenever I played. I don't know if I've told you this before, but it wasn't me playing the remasters. Do you want to know when it was?
When?
Do you remember back in I'm gonna make myself sound a lot older than I am. Back in our day, do you remember whenever you would go into a games shop?
Yeah, demo.
GameStop, and they would have the playable demos.
Yes.
I remember my first time is whenever I was over I think I was in Scotland visiting my family, and I was in Clydebank, and they had a GameStop there. And I every time we would go to Clydebank, I would always go there because I was a kid, I would always go play the game. And I was sitting there playing a game, and I was Bioshock 2, and I remember that the game horrified me the first time I played it, because I was quite young at the time. I was only because I came out in 2010. I was 9 at the time.
Yeah.
and I was just running around with the drill, and I remember seeing a little sister for the first time in the demo, and it terrified the hell out of me. And then I think in the demo it let you fight a big sister.
Mm.
And I was mortified because in the demo I tried to kill Big Daddy, it didn't work, and it ran away. And then I fought a big sister, and I kind of ended the demo with that fight. It was kind of like a you know, in like the trailers for the game where it was like the big sister drops down.
Yeah.
You have that, then it like has the face off and it cuts to black. It was kind of like that in the demo from what I remember, and I just remembered it terrified me, the little sisters and everything. And that was my first introduction to Bioshock, and it's why I didn't play it for the games for so long. It's because I thought they were horror games like Dead Space.
Well, no, because this is a weird thing. Because like, remember when I told you when you got the remaster, I was like, no, don't play 2. Just play 1 and Infinite, and then go back to 2 if you want. Because 2 is really bad. Because I got in your head 2 is really bad. So just play 1 and Infinite. Well. No, you did. You know, you played 1 and then Infinite, and you're like, I don't know about Infinite, and then you went and played Bioshock 2, and you're like, Alex, I don't know what you're talking about. This is a lot better.
Yeah. Cause I just wanted to bring that in because it's just very weird to me thinking back. Or my first ever time playing Bioshock was one of those little demos.
Yeah, and then when you were fighting the big sister later on, you're like, oh no, flashbacks.
Granted, in the demo, because it was a demo, it made it a lot more spectacular than it actually was.
Yeah.
It was like they pulled a bit of a Ubisoft.
2K, like.
Yeah. But anyway, let's move on to multiplayer, because I have no idea what this is about.
Dave has never... Dave only heard about it because I told him that it existed. I don't think you've even seen gameplay on it.
No, I haven't. I've never looked it up.
It's mental. It's like it's fucking chaos, so it is. Anyways, well, this is my big thing. 'Cause no one really plays. Like big thing is like no one really played Bioshock 2's multiplayer, and it kind of annoys me because basically the whole thing was you played as splicers, and it was story driven because it was called The Fall of Rapture, and it was basically set during the Rapture Civil War between the citizens. So basically, you'd basically just be fighting with plasmids and stuff, and you could switch in between roles, and then there was stuff like Capture the Flag, but it was like Capture Little Sister.
Oh,
and it was such cool. It was like such a kind of like nice, unique kind of mode that I wish that kind of continued. Yeah. Because like, it got DLCs. Like there was 2 or 3 DLCs for the multiplayer, adding new maps, adding new stuff. I think there was plasmid that was only in the multiplayer, and it made you basically run or go really quickly across the map. And then there was also like a chain gun. that was also exclusive to the multiplayer, but it's just kind of nice the fact that the multiplayer was canon.
Yeah, I do.
But
I
it
do
makes
like
sense as to why it's kind of like.
Yeah, I do like when games do that. It's something that you kind of saw a lot with games at that time though.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to bring it up again, but I'm gonna bring it up again. That's Dead Space. Like Dead Space 2 had a multiplayer, didn't it? But like it was like you versus necromorphs, wasn't it? Yeah. And again, that was kind of in the similar vein where it kind of felt like it had its role in the actual world. Yeah. Where you were kind of like these military soldiers going in and fighting them, which made sense because there was some of the DLC for that as well, and it had like map facts and all there. Kind of a similarity between the 2 games actually. Yeah. It's something that a lot of the games tried to pull off at that time, but none of them really did it successfully. Was they tried to get these franchises to break into the multiplayer market.
Yeah. Oh, it was mainly single player games that they were really, trying to push. Like Far Cry 3, the multiplayer that was pointless. It was nice to have, but it wasn't really.
It was more of a gimmick than an actual.
Oh yeah, especially shooters.
Feature. Yeah.
Strictly shooters had them like. Yeah, because even with like Bioshock Infinite, we'll get into that, not next week, but the week after. It had its own multiplayer that was very different, and I've never played that one.
Really?
Yeah, no, I've never played it. It just didn't appeal to me. But like Bioshock 2's multiplayer was kind of fun because it was this. If you're interested in the story, at least you have that story aspect. But it was really fun because it was really quick. So you would be running around and like throwing plasmas at each other and shooting each other with a ton of guns. Like it was like it worked within the story because it felt like all this was actually like what the Civil War was like in Rapture.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
That is a nice perspective to have.
That's like my best way I can like put it, if you know what I mean.
It just adds another layer to the world building in a way.
Yeah.
That is cool.
But yeah, no, there's not much kind of to talk about. Like there was small stuff like, you know, the game modes were all like deathmatch game modes were called like, you know, Civil War and Survival of the Fittest, and then there was like Turf War game modes.
So kind of
where it was
like really
basically like capture certain parts of the map, like domination.
That's cool. So it kind of really played into that, making it feel like it is taking place in the universe aspect.
Yeah.
That's
like
cool.
I think it's so underrated and so you know, overlooked.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't know about it, and also because it wasn't in
remasters.
Because that was the one thing I was actually most excited for.
Oh yeah, I remember.
I was like, "Oh, the multiplayer's coming back," and there was like, came up no multiplayer. Ah, fuck. See, that's probably why. See, you didn't even know about the multiplayer because you only played those.
Yeah,
you see what I mean? Like, yeah. Oh,
I didn't even
so
know that Infinite had a multiplayer until you said it like before the episode.
Yeah, again, I only know that because of fucking shitty. I don't know. I just like the idea that. See, you could have done it for Infinite as well. Had the exact same type where it was a Civil War-esque multiplayer mode.
Well, you could have.
And imagine you could have like transportability, so you could like the map would change given what power, you know, you changed a certain point of the map to.
Yeah.
Like you could change the power of the map to the 1950s and stuff like that.
And then you have the zipline thing to zoom around the map quickly.
Oh
and you
yeah,
get
it'd
different
be
sight lines.
mental.
It would have been a cool idea.
But no, again, we might get it. No, I don't think
We
will. Yeah,
it's wishful
the time
thinking.
is coming past. Yeah, I think it's because it was so overlooked that they're like,
Yeah,
no
I
point.
mean, to be fair,
And you'd have to have servers for it.
Yeah, that takes up a lot of resources. Like,
Yeah.
you'd have to have constant
Like if it was a
updates
big
and
deal
everything.
like COD,
Oh,
like Modern
yeah.
Warfare or something, and you know remastered, it's like fair enough because that's a multiplayer-esque kind of game, but not a single player game.
Then they did it
Same
anyway
thing
with Modern
happened with
Warfare
like
2.
Warfare. Oh yeah, I know, right?
Well, I think it's because
People are still crying for that.
I think they just did it with
um,
Modern Warfare because they knew Infinite Warfare wasn't going to do well, so they had the second multiplayer.
Well, no, I think I completely agree with why they didn't have one for 2. Is because A, it was easier to do, and B, it came out right after Warzone came out. And also there was Modern Warfare's multiplayer was going at the same time.
Yeah, like if you had something like Modern Warfare 2's like Modern Warfare 2 of all Call of Duty's multiplayer to bring
Well,
that
they've
back.
overshadowed everyone.
Oh yeah, because like
no
you know,
one would be playing Warzone.
it's still regarded
Actually,
as one of the best.
I know, but no one actually would have played it. I think more people would play Warzone. Because
Yeah.
Warzone was the big deal at the time.
To be fair, even if you look at Modern Warfare's multiplayer died off, not died off, but Warzone kind of carried it, but the standard multiplayer kind of died off quite.
We're doing Call of Duty.
Yeah.
We're doing Call of Duty. I'm just thinking, it's like, yeah, we've lost thoughts, Call of Duty. We're doing a Call of Duty.
See, this is what happens
when
on these
the
episodes.
New one comes out.
We
just come up with ideas.
It's not even that. We'll be talking about like Bioshock, and then we'll just randomly accidentally talk about Call of Duty, and then immediately like, right, we're doing Call of Duty. It happened in the E3 one where we were talking about.
You
Far
said
Cry.
Bioshock.
Yeah, I talked about Bioshock, and we also talked about Far Cry, and they were like afterwards, we're like, oh, we need to do an episode now because we have so much to talk about on those.
And then in that we talked about Dead Space, and they're like, oh, we need to do Dead Space.
Yeah, because I was looking at all the leaks and everything that were coming out, and
yeah,
like,
they just write themselves.
I was like, something might be happening here, Alex. I don't know.
But anyways, moving on from multiplayer swiftly to
The best.
the final talk. The reason I actually like this game is its DLC. The final DLC, Minerva's Den. And
what a DLC it was. Probably the second best feature of. This is what I think. This is the way I look at it. It's the best thing in the Bioshock series, like, except for the. You know, I usually have it go. Bioshock 1's my favorite, then 2, then Infinite. For me, it's like Bioshock 1, then Minerva's Den, then 2, then 2.
Yeah.
Because it's just unbelievable. Like, if you haven't played
it's just such a good self-contained story.
It's like, it's so short and sweet and self-contained.
Actually, right off,
unique.
before we start talking about spoilers, first of all, just tell everyone, right, you go fucking play it.
Yeah.
Go play Minerva's Den. because we
It's-
are going to spoil this fucking game
it's
because it's fucking amazing. Just go play the DLC.
It's like something like the Shivering Isles. It's one of those DLCs that's held in such high regard for good reason.
yeah.
But it's something.
Just
don't even
narratively.
play Bioshock 2. Just if you're gonna play it,
Yeah,
just play.
you don't need it.
Just play Minerva's Den, and then if you want, play 2, because it has no
Mm.
real connection to the game. It's just a self-contained story. Like, should we just give a bit of a rundown of it?
Yeah. Well, you start. You're on a roll.
So, so basically, you start off as Subject Sigma, which is another big old style Big Daddy, similar to Subject Delta, which you play in the main camp. One thing I want to say is I absolutely love the name of Subject Delta's real name before he became a Big Daddy. Do you know what it is?
What was it? Yeah.
Johnny Topside.
Oh yeah, so it was.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just love
forgot.
that. I just love that whole story behind Subject Delta, where it's like he was just a diver, went down into Rapture by accident, and got kidnapped, and then just turned into a Big Daddy because they couldn't let him leave with the knowledge of being where Rapture was. It's just like, oh.
Well, it's kind of strange. Once again, also, again, it's a big tangent. Every main character you play as in Bioshock is really interesting.
Yeah, but it's
even Booker's interesting character. We'll get into that anyway.
I know what you mean, but it's something that I actually find interesting. I'm just thinking about it now, how they used like the turning of someone into a Big Daddy as kind of like a way of punishment. Like it happens to Subject Delta, it happens to Sinclair, doesn't it? He gets turned into a Big Daddy.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to stop it from happening, and then you have Subject Delta, who is I'll say that later. But basically, you're Subject Delta, you're Subject Sigma. And you're just strolling into a place called Minerva's Den, and I think isn't Tenenbaum leading you? She's basically telling you what to do at the start.
Yeah.
But then you don't hear from her for most of the game. It's mostly you're basically going into Minerva's Den, which is basically like the operating system of the AI that basically controls all of Rapture.
Yeah, it's the central computing.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Right,
Wasn't it like the think tank or something?
Yeah.
It reminds me so much of Old World Blues and Fallout New Vegas, because that's the name of the main hub. Where you have the robots. Right. It's called the think tank. I don't know. I was confusing it with that. But basically, you go in and you have you start unraveling everything that's kind of happening. And I can't remember the name of the antagonist.
It's all just the inner workings of Rapture.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
What do you call the guy? You know, the scientist guy that was kind of like Porter's opposition. I can't mind his name.
I can't remember either, yeah.
But basically, he's like the antagonist because he's kind of mental.
Yeah.
And you're basically going through.
It's Rapture.
Yeah. It's basically like you're going through Minerva's Den, trying to figure out what happened and like what happened to these people, and you're basically just going through this place, like just going through it for the sake of going through it. Just to experience it, and it's really.
There's new plasma, doesn't there?
Oh, there's like a new plasma. There's new weapons. There's like
Enemy
a Tesla
types.
cannon and stuff.
Oh yeah, fucking amazing!
Tesla
God, I
cannon
love
was,
it.
Oh, it was so cool. But there was just a ton of new features and everything, and it was such a nice. It was something that the base game didn't do, where it had this amazing set piece. It was such a nice location because it was kind of futuristic, but not like it was futuristic in terms of like that 50s aesthetic. Where it wasn't like you weren't looking at it and thinking it was something from the 2000s. You were looking at it and thinking this is something that someone in the 50s would think is futuristic. And it just it's so good. It's unbelievable. Just everything about it. It just. But you basically kind of go through and you learn the story of what happened. You learn about Is it CM Porter's the guy? You learn about him. It's C.
I just know him as Porter.
It's C something Porter. I think it's CM. It's either CJ or CM. But basically, you learn about his backstory. It's quite sad. You learn about his wife and all that their stuff, and it's just heart wrenching. And
it's just such a good self-contained story. But it's also a great DLC because you can play it without having anything to do with. Well, I think it was a smart thing to disconnect it from the story. But
you can play through it without knowing anything from this first game. Not the first game. You kind of need to know about the first game to kind of not understand that.
I think,
But the second game, you just don't even need to bother. You just jump into Minerva's Den, and that's you sorted.
Well, I think that's a good thing about Bioshock is you can play the first game and then play the sequels in any way you want.
Oh yeah, because they're all kind of self-contained in their own ways. So they are. Like, you can play all of Bioshock by like skipping 2, or you can play all of Bioshock by skipping Infinite.
Yeah.
Or you can play all of Bioshock and play like all the Bioshock games, just skip the DLCs of Infinite and you're grand.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
Well, except
Well,
DLCs.
the way I would say it is skip Infinite's DLCs because you don't.
No. They were wrong in this. Don't listen to them.
Oh, skip it. It just adds.
Like if you think we're at each other's throats now,
Oh,
wait
I'm
till
gonna go off
Infinite's episode.
I'm gonna get heated in the Infinite one. I can already tell.
It's gonna be great.
Anyway, back
We'll
to
have our own civil war.
But like the fall of Rapture live on the podcast. Well, not live,
Yeah.
but like live for us. But anyway, back to Minerva's Den.
Yeah.
Will I say the twist?
Oh yeah, you have to.
Okay. So this is the twist for anyone that doesn't want to hear it. You're getting plenty warning because it is unbelievable. So
It is
basically,
brilliant.
you get to the end of the game and you basically go to CJ. I'm just gonna call him Porter. You go to Porter's office, where you kind of get the whole thing laid out to you, similar in the first game, similar to how it happens in the first game, where you go to Andrew Ryan's office and you get the whole revelation. But you basically get the whole revelation that you were Subject Sigma the whole time, and you were basically turned into a Big Daddy by the antagonist as a way of basically getting rid of you, so that he would have no competition, so he could take claim of the think tank for himself. And it's just so heart wrenching. Like whenever you go in there and you hear Porter talk about his wife and stuff, like a last goodbye to his wife, because he kind of knew it was happening. He kind of knew he was going to get overthrown.
Well, it's just such a good twist because you think, but you think this is him talking to you, but what is just previous recordings?
It's basically, you think he's helping someone else be guided through the situation, but whenever you realise that he's actually like guiding himself through it. Well,
it's sort of like that memento sort of a situation.
It's like he's left all these things in place for you to go through and basically fix what happened. Basically, just to kind of go in and basically right the wrongs of what happened to him without you knowing it. And then you get to the end and Tenenbaum kind of explains it, and then you leave Rapture in a bathysphere with Tenenbaum so that basically she could revert you back to a human. And it's just beautiful. It brings a tear to your eyes.
I was about to say it's such a beautiful It's the one thing we'll agree on.
Oh yeah.
For this.
As much as we both we didn't really argue as much during this year because I did agree with you on a lot of stuff, but I still will blindly like the game.
You would have liked the multiplayer.
Yeah.
You would have liked the multiplayer.
But it's
fucking great.
It's a beautiful game. Well, is there much else to talk about?
I'm pretty sure that was. I was going to just wrap it up, sort of.
Well, one thing I wanted to ask you is, what are your opinions on the endings to Bioshock 2? Is it something we didn't?
That's not.
Because I actually like them.
No, I hate them because there's just so many there's so much variety in them. If you know what I mean.
There's so many little details. Like there's like two ways that it can end with either Eleanor kills Lamb or spares Lamb, and there's also Eleanor leaves you to die or Eleanor extracts your DNA,
absorbs you, and then you live on through her. And
the way I looked at that is, it's kind of what does she take your DNA to basically remake your body, similar to how I expect Tenenbaum to do it with Subject Sigma.
No, she injects into herself.
No, yeah, but she injects the atom thing into your body. I assumed it was to extract DNA to like rebuild you.
Yeah, but she puts it in herself.
No, she just has it on her arm, doesn't she?
No, does she not stab herself with it?
No,
then
it's just
injects you.
She like puts it into you, like you, then pulls it out, and then just closes the valve on the little injection thing to keep you basically in a tank. I don't know if she absorbs it, or if she just wants to keep your. Imagine.
Because that's what I saw. Because I remember, I don't know, because there's about fucking 6 endings. But I think she injects it into herself, and then you live in her.
See, whenever I first played it, I thought she was just going to carry around a big container of your blood. Because I thought she was absolutely insane. I was like, wait, you're just going to carry me out of a big valve, like a big tank full of blood. But I think she's going to like rebuild you to basically have you as a dad.
Yeah.
So that,
well, there is 6 different endings. We could be talking about 2 completely different ones.
Yeah, the one I'm talking about is basically where she saves you. I don't know. There might be one where she absorbs you. Only ones I remember is she basically leaves you, or basically becomes evil, or she extracts you.
With all little sisters there.
Yeah, I like to have my own little headcanon as the fact that she saves Johnny Topside, then rebuilds him, and lives a happy life with him as her dad, similar to Bioshock 1. That's the way I look at it, because I think it's a nice parallel towards those endings.
Oh, yeah.
Where they basically get to leave Rapture and then become a father figure for someone, in a way.
Yeah.
Not a father figure, but like Because you know the way Jack in Bioshock 1 didn't basically have a father or have that childhood?
Yeah.
Neither did Eleanor.
Yeah.
And you were...
So that's why there's that kind of a parallel.
Yeah, and you were kind of the closest thing because you actually had a real the two of you had a real connection. That's why I like it so much. But at the same time, it does take a lot of, like, you need to sit and think about it to kind of jump through all these hoops to make it work.
Yeah.
Which is annoying, but I like it, but I don't know how it can. And I will stand by it.
But that has been Bioshock 2. Thank God we did do, like, these as 3 separate episodes, because it would have been, like, a 4 or 5 hour special.
Well, I mean, how long is this episode so for? About an hour and a half?
It's about an hour and 10.
Oh, God, an hour and 10.
Hour and 10.
Oh, my God.
Not too bad.
Yeah, quite good for us.
We've been recording for about an hour and a half.
that's true.
But yeah, no, that's been it. As always,
what a great
follow
episode.
us on Instagram at State Podcast. Thank you to BuzzFeed, no, Buzzsprout for hosting this. Make sure to follow us on Spotify, obviously. Link is in the Buzzsprout, our Buzzsprout feed, being the State Podcast. Again, don't follow us on YouTube, or because we haven't updated that in a while. We will be back next week with Suicide Squad episode. That will be interminable. And the week after that, we'll be back for the ending of Bioshock with Dave, with Bioshock Infinite.
Nice sweet trilogy.
A happy episode. A lovely happy episode.
It's
going to end like Revenge of the Sith, I imagine. But yeah. Any final thoughts, Dave?
Not much, play the Bioshock
Thanks for watching, or...
I was going to say very carefully, thank you all so much for listening to us rambling yet again.
Good night.
I don't think I'll ever make that mistake again. Good night.